I did vibe coding for like almost 2 weeks. Not on and off, but still, yeah, 2 weeks of vibe coding with Claude. Very interesting. New experience because, as I said in the other clips, you give Claude something to do, it does it, but once you add features to it, it breaks something, and it's very difficult to troubleshoot the errors. Um, I'm not sure if it's like with ChatGPT, where I notice like when my fiance uses ChatGPT, when a lot of people are using it at the same time, like towards the evening in Asia here, is I guess when people wake up in Europe and then the Americans are still online, so everyone uses it at the same time, and it literally gets dumber. Like you tell it to change like something small, like a text in a text bubble in an image, doesn't do it. It completely does other things. With Claude, I'm not sure it's the same because it starts limiting you basically. At some point, it just says, okay, you run out of that extended thinking mode, and then it limits you for like 2 or 3 hours. You can go back to the lower model if you want. So maybe they have some fallback where it still performs always at 100%, and if it otherwise you just get limited.
I think it's like the ChatGPT deep research where they figured out that if they just let it think for a little while longer, it gets better answers. So it could be some kind of like load balancing thing where too many people want to use it at the same time. It just doesn't have the time to think properly. It's interesting.
Yeah, I really like this the thinking mode because sometimes you see it thinks a lot. I think when it's actually running on the last few brain cells it has, it thinks for up to a minute. And you can also instruct it to think step by step, right? Because if you don't give it proper instructions, then you see it just thinks like 3 seconds and it starts doing something. But you can tell it like if it's a really long prompt, you can give it like instructions and tags and then do, okay, think step by step, start with this, do that, do the third step. At the end, you can tell it, verify your code, verify it again, run through scenarios. So that takes like minutes of thinking and processing until it's actually done. So it really does it like a human, more or less. Like it actually tests scenarios. And even with the testing, sometimes it's still wrong. Sometimes you get a console error when it's done.
What are you doing in the meantime? Are you like browsing Reddit while you wait? Or like it's tremendously like it feels like it takes you out of the moment, because you have to wait.
Yeah, you have to wait, but like in my case, since I was building multiple tools at the same time, I was like running through the other scenarios and testing the tools if there's something wrong with the math or if something's missing, if some of the elements are not working. I was thinking if we should add some other features to it. So there's something you can do on the side basically. But yeah, it's a little bit annoying when you have to wait and then it breaks something and then you just tell it to fix it. And the worst is when you hit this the chat limit, because the more messages you have, the more it consumes the amount of time you can talk to Claude. So the longer the chat gets, you risk that you run it with the limit at the limit, and then you have this issue. It's like, am I going to start a new chat? But then you have to feed Claude the information again. So you upload, let's say, the blade file, tell it to familiarize itself with the code, and then you can keep working on it. Problem is, since the code is not in that chat anymore, it rewrites all the lines first, which consumes again resources, right? So then you keep hitting your limit, even though you open a new chat. So it's very tricky, but I had to do it a few times with some calculators where it's like 38 versions in, something is broken, doesn't fix it, and then you just, okay, I'm just going to start a new chat and hopefully it works.
I was impressed with like how much you were able to do just like with vibe coding. And that like yeah, the last 10% is good when somebody who understands what's going on looks at it, you know, to like make it shippable. But yeah, the grunt work looked really good. Man, it's exciting that you're able to do this. This is like a prime example of engineering as marketing, where we could get somebody to write an ebook or like do some kind of a little thing. But if it's an actual tool or an app, that's like way more valuable. We now have something of actual value we can give away, as opposed to an ebook, which has some value, but then, you can ask for the same tips uh, in ChatGPT and get get the answers. So I think that these kind of like marketing lead gen tools are going downhill for sure. Like the just pure content.
Yeah, it's I think very hard to sell like an ebook these days. Like I think you just get a nice PDF. Maybe it's nicely formatted. Maybe it's generated by ChatGPT and it's complete nonsense what's written inside. You don't really know. And then you have to read through it. I was like, cool. Maybe I'm smarter. Maybe I'm not. But the tools that we build are actually very useful for agencies. Like it solves the problems they have because I didn't build them for fun. I actually researched it also with Claude, with not just Claude but also I tried Grok a little bit and the ChatGPT deep research, and it was actually like scraping Reddit posts from our agency's channel. So it was based on what people actually have issues with. So it can be packaging services, it can be pricing retainers. All these things came up during the research, plus also Claude's own thinking. It's like you ask it like, put yourself in the shoes of an agency owner. What would you need help with, for example? And then you ask it a few more times. Okay, can you find any more examples, stuff like that? And then it comes up with a bunch of different ideas, the best ones I took, and then you just start mapping it out. It's like, okay, let's build the retainer calculator. What would you want to put in? It outlines it. It can design even a nice UI so you can see what it would look like. Yeah, and the only thing is I didn't do it as a React app because that's the default with Claude, but then you have to actually make a proper app. So I was like, hopefully it works with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS and Tailwind, and it does. So that's amazing.
Yeah. And remember how like all this started? I think because in one of the newsletters we had included this graph with like your revenue going up and to the right with like 5% churn, and then another line with like 10% churn, and like the difference is huge. And I put it in that screenshot, and people were replying and asking like, where can I do a calculation like this? And then I think this was an older screenshot that we reused from somewhere. And the tool I got it initially from just didn't couldn't find it anymore. So basically, that's how we got the idea to build some tools for agency owners. Uh, yeah. Oh, and this is also the thing that I think so many subscription-based business owners are blindsided by is the um, when growth plateaus is because like the number of new leads coming in evens out with your churn rate. So it's just gonna the growth is just gonna stop at some point if you don't like change one of those variables. And now we have a tool where you can plug in those numbers and see, okay, with this many leads, this churn rate, I can grow to this MRR, and then I have to change something. So this is also a very useful thing to know.
Yeah, you can change something or you can keep it. Like some people are like happy to stay at that level. Like if nothing changes and you plateau and you want to keep the agency as it is, that's fine. But some people want to keep growing, right? And then you're like, okay, how do I grow past this point? And it's usually reduce the churn rate, which is easier said than done.
This is an easy answer. Just get more clients, charge more money for the existing clients, make fewer clients churn. Like we know the answers, but I think it's good that it's put into an actual graph where you don't change anything, but number still goes up until it doesn't. So yeah, if you put it in the graph, it's easy to predict.
Yeah. And it's actually, you can actually see when you plateau, so you can plan ahead. Like, it would be a bad idea to start spending a lot of money before you plateau, right? Because then it's going to change the trajectory. So if you have like something to spend money on, like you want to hire someone, then make sure that the growth is also going in that direction. Like, reduce the churn rate maybe before, and then you can manage the expenses.
Hmm.
Because people like really don't know when to hire.
Uh,
Like it's difficult, right? Because you see, okay, I have this growth
as
trajectory.
as soon as you can afford to, no?
Yeah.
I don't know. I you could look at it that way or the other way, where you see, okay, this with these numbers I can get to here. Let me start working on these numbers before I get to there. You know?
Well, that would be the smart thing to do, right? You want to be ahead of the game and not get caught up. That's like we talked last time with the systems. You don't want to wait until the last minute when like your projects are behind schedule and clients are unhappy If you want to switch from spreadsheets to a nice tool, then you would do it in time.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could talk about Mr. Fat Joe. Uh, they did an interview on one of the podcasts about the agency, and Joe basically said that it is more of a software development shop than an actual agency. And like one of the things he regrets was not building out the dashboard. Like they have this fancy client portal, um, and th- I don't remember exactly. Like he said, they maybe built it sometime into the business, but it would have been better to build it sooner. Even I really like that. It was a good interview. He's not on SPP, but then again, he's got his own custom thing.
Yeah, but is it, it's like, would you have known that it's better to build it before? Like now that you're at this specific point and successful, how would you know? Like
Yeah,
maybe it was good that he did what he did because he reached this point. Like it's you don't know if they
yeah,
spend money
true.
on something custom, maybe he wouldn't be where he is right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because we see it the other way happening all the time, where people build out the thing too early, invest all the resources in tech, whereas you need the clients first, you need the leads.
Exactly. It happens a lot. You spend a lot of money, and I mean, maybe it makes your project delivery simpler, maybe it doesn't, but I think having this obsession with the perfect system from the get-go is probably very unhealthy when it comes to getting clients and doing the projects because you're going to obsess with the system more than you do with delivering the service.
There's no perfect system. Not even our system is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but
true.
you've seen it. Like even some clients we have or leads, they want to get like the perfect system set up. I mean, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect as it can get. They want extra like trial extensions. They spend like 2 months on setting it up. It's everything is perfect, but they have zero clients in the meantime. Basically, it's costing you money, something that isn't yet useful for you.
You know, a lot of that is, I think, also some form of, especially when you're starting out, it's some form of procrastination where you just don't want to get into, you don't want to be hit with reality where like nobody wants your product. So you like, I know some SaaS people have spent many years building something and then they don't even release it, or they release it and nobody cares. Whereas the other way is to release it as soon as possible and see if people care. And this is where, like, we're back to vibe coding that makes all of this so much more feasible.
Yeah, and I think one cool thing you could do, or what I've seen also, is like some people they don't even have a product. They literally have an idea, or they researched some niche thing where that people really want, and they just put a landing page and a subscribed to the email newsletter button, and then people are like, "Yeah, I really want this." Then they start building it. So
Oh,
it's a very
I don't know about
it's a
that.
very
That's an old school kind of thing. Because today, I think people are savvy. Like, you cannot sell vaporware anymore,
yeah.
like something that doesn't exist. Maybe, like, you could do, like you say, build an email list, build an audience, like, ask people what they want. Yeah, maybe that is. Then at least it's clear that you're like asking for ideas or asking for feedback on something that might become true. Instead of like, no, when I started SPP, I was like, I did try to pre-sell and I got maybe like two people interested and like ready to put money down. Where I was like, okay, I'm gonna build this thing. Do you want something like this? And would you be willing to pay, I don't know, like $200 for it or something, very cheap? And they were like, yeah. So that was good enough for me to hear. But I can imagine probably 50% of the time it doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's possible. I think it's also the competition is like way higher now with the vibe coding and Lovable and all those platforms. Anyone can literally steal your idea and build it faster if they're able. So just
Yeah.
putting it in the public is probably not that easy. The build in public is maybe also not that easy anymore because now anyone can quickly whip it up if they see your idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, another concern I think I saw on on Twitter. This guy vibe coded some app, and people were like literally abusing it because it was not secure. So I'd imagine in a few years that would be less of a concern because we could ask AI to just code it securely, make sure it's secure, or something like that. But for now, anything that's like remotely important, I wouldn't sign up if I'm not sure it's like real people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, especially when it's like sending emails and being a little scammer and pretending to be someone else. I guess there's like lots of opportunities with these apps to
Oh yeah,
abuse them.
yeah. Abuse emails, abuse all kinds of APIs, all kinds of things. People are creative, I think. But
Yeah, it's a pity they're creative with the bad things, but what can you do?
the good and the bad, can be creative about the good things if you're also not creative about the bad things.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but when it comes to the vibe coding, I'm really interested to see what the next steps are basically because there's so much going on right now with vibe coding. Like, I think it's very good for the marketing road specifically. Like I saw a lot of marketers tapping into it, like me, like they use it to build tools because instead of hiring someone or delegating it to you, yo, Chris, can you help me build these tools? And you have other things to do, I can just do it myself. So there's a lot more possibility when it comes to building things I need by myself. With the help of AI, obviously, I'm going to start coding, but
And building websites, because that's a um, low effort, low risk kind of thing. Just like whip up some Tailwind, make a generic website. AI knows how to do that. Or landing pages.
yeah, but not even just building them. Like I was using Claude, I haven't done it yet, but for example, it can help you analyze existing pages. And I was feeding Claude our alternatives pages and then telling it, okay, what would you improve here? And it says like, I mean, the content is a little bit thin. I would make a little bit more comparisons. You can add a good FAQ to each page. So it can help you come up with ideas how to improve existing pages and then also add the content to it. Like if you give it the information, it can even write up the FAQs. Still have to double check everything because sometimes it does weird things. Sometimes the URL is wrong, as we noticed yesterday. Three broken internal links. Not cool. But that was the 3.5, I think, Claude, like the less intelligent one that hallucinated three URLs that don't exist.
Yeah, it's risky. There was a guy in the airport with a photo of ChatGPT saying he doesn't need a visa, where in reality he apparently did need a visa. So it's like it's very confident. It's gonna like give you all kinds of advice. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I would not.
Like you got to be critical about everything, right? And it's not like, oh, this is not an important. I'm gonna ask this question, and if it's true, it's like not really important. Every question you want to know the answer to is kind of important. So I don't know.
That is true. Especially when it comes to anything illegal, I would not trust it. Especially when it comes to visas. It's like I would double check if I need a visa before spending God knows how much money on a flight ticket and then not being able to get in. That's risky. I think I saw a similar case where someone wanted to go on a hike and ended up in the middle of nowhere because ChatGPT hallucinated some weird route on Google Maps and it didn't go anywhere. And then if you end up in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night, probably not great.
Oh no. What? Oh, there. Well, another topic we can talk about is the client side redesign for SPP. We've been working on that for a while, and one of the things that makes it a little bit more difficult is that we have to ensure backwards compatibility for everything we do, where we don't want to spring a new design on people if they've made customizations, because those customizations are wouldn't be compatible with the new stuff. So basically, we have to make the update opt-in only, um, and yeah, that that's going to be interesting how we release it.
Yeah, I mean, opt-in only, or just opt everyone in who doesn't have anything modified, right? I guess that's the easiest.
yeah. And then like before, like with the admin side, we're gonna roll it out, maybe push it to one server or something, or one workspace, two workspaces, like slowly roll it out, see how it goes. But yeah, that's like one of the things I feel like we're trying to be good at is backwards compatibility and being in this for the long run, supporting people for the long time, even if we have to make changes. And we have to make changes because technology progresses. We're now like moving from Bootstrap to Tailwind. Um, that's making many things much easier, other things more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think it's fine. I think also it was funny that you built it on Tailwind 3, right? And then before the launch of the admin redesign 4 comes out, that was very funny. I was like checking Hacker News or something. I was like, wait, Tailwind 4? I have to tell Chris he has to change some things.
Yeah, thankfully it wasn't that big of a deal. Uh, but once you go, once you're a little bit behind, it's very easy to fall behind. So that's why you gotta keep up to date with all this stuff, like update Laravel, the framework, update all dependencies, update design. Like if you keep on top of it, then it's manageable. And as soon as you let it go for too long, then all of a sudden the update becomes a big deal because too many changes have been made over time.
Yeah, I'm really curious how, because on the admin side, I think it's a little bit different because there were no big change. Like you couldn't do anything on the admin side to change the design on by your own. So everyone was just put on the new design. You just get used to it after a while, after being a little bit overwhelmed by the big changes. Like, let's be honest, not that much changed. Like a few things moved around, but I think people were like, they were a little bit stressed out about a redesign that didn't change too much around. Like you can still find things more or less.
Yeah,
But on the client side, obviously, I think people are a little bit more wary because they don't want clients to not find things. That's a little bit different than your own team.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. And then also now that you're kind of used to the design on the admin side, if you log in as a client, you're like, but
You see the old bootstrap design, unless it's a custom design some people have, but yeah, most people still have bootstrap.
yeah. And then, man, we're also gonna update order forms for the new design. So now we'll officially have like 3 versions of order forms. I'm not sure how we're gonna roll it, where like people on the old one can keep the old one, but if they want to upgrade the portal to the new design, then they have to also update order forms. So we're gonna have to figure something like that out. But that only ever is a problem with custom designs. If, for most use cases, it's no biggie.
Yeah, it's interesting because we want obviously to give them the flexibility to customize everything, but then when our stuff changes, they're like, okay, can you help us with our custom things? Well, we wish we could, but it's not that easy. Like even getting people migrated if they just use some bootstrap components in custom pages, like it's not that easy to rewrite the classes, right? For like Tailwind.
Uh, if it's a standalone kind of thing where maybe you've added a couple testimonials to your order form, I think you could just like post the old code into AI, ask it to give you the Tailwind equivalent, and copy paste job should be easy. Like for us, everything's more interconnected, so that it makes things a little bit more difficult.
Basically, our customers have to start vibe coding and just get everything onto Tailwind and just double check that Claude didn't mess anything up. So good luck.
Yeah, everything goes towards maybe if it's so easy to vibe code stuff, we don't even need any kind of like drag and drop builder type of things anyway, because you can just you know vibe code stuff.
Would be nice, wouldn't it? But we know that not everyone is that willing and able. Like for that, you also need the paid AI for sure, not the free AI, because the free one doesn't do much. You need the thinking AI.
What if I think in 5 years It'll be so good. The free versions, it'll be super easy. Maybe we'll have something an app where you can just have a live chat with a chatbot that updates your stuff for you. That would be great.
Yeah, since we keep speaking about I think our customers also asked us last year if we're gonna do any AI stuff this year. And now with the vibe coding, I'm also wondering, is there anything that would help them inside SVP that would be powered by AI? Because we have now this little answering machine that's basically an AI bot.
Eric,
Eric.
our homie Eric is the fancy answering machine. I did the dumbest thing, like using 11 Labs for it, and I put in our help doc URL as like a training material. Turns out it doesn't crawl it. It's just that one URL, so it didn't have that much information.
Yeah, that's
I had to like
that's
crawl the whole thing, put it in a text file, upload a text file.
yeah, that's very surprising. I also played around with some AI agent. Forgot the name, and I think on the cheapest plan, or at least on the trial, it doesn't crawl the subpath. So if you give it like our help docs, it will not go deeper. I was like testing it. I was like, sometimes it just gives weird answers or wrong answers or no answers, and then just falls back to send a support email. I was like, why is that? Like, it's full of information in the help docs, and then I saw like in its knowledge base, it doesn't crawl deeper. You have to go on a paid plan, which is also weird. Like, I mean, maybe they want to limit the crawling on the trials, but how would I test it properly to know if I want to upgrade?
Imagine the amount of web traffic in the future just goes up exponentially as like everybody's AI agent is doing deep research and opening 200 links to find the answer like really quickly. It's a good thing we have like Cloudflare and everything's cached, so it's really fast. But otherwise,
Yeah, I was also thinking about it because there's still plans that make you pay for the hosting, right? Like you have usually like really big limits, but what if some weird crawler completely wrecks your limit and starts billing? You get a nice bill at the end of the month because some AI crawlers were like hitting your page all day, and then you're paying like hundreds a month for someone else's
uh,
AI bots.
that sounds like some kind of like Vercel or I don't know serverless kind of problem where people get usually surprised with the serverless stuff where it's like you pay some fraction of a cent per request and then your thing goes viral. It's expensive.
Yeah, and do you think there would be any AI use case inside SPP? Like anything people would like to see? Like, because I think the most they answered asked about thing is like some kind of not sentiment analysis, but that they check like, okay, the customer has answered this. What would be a reply we can give based on the knowledge, right? So it's similar to the little answer machine we have, Eric, but inside SPP, I guess that it pre-populates the reply to client field or something like that.
Yeah. Given like their, because you could already have some plugins that read the page and generate an answer based on what they read on the page. That's already a thing. But if it could get all the previous ticket history, maybe it'd be better. Uh, yeah, I'm not ruling that out. The problem is, is it important enough where people want to pay for it, or maybe not. Maybe if like in time it becomes so cheap and easy to do. It's already like pretty cheap and easy, but if it becomes like even more so, then yeah, there's no question we'll do it. But I think right now we have bigger fish to fry, and that's improving the client experience. Because like we have exponentially way more users for the app than customers. Because everybody has like hundreds of clients or thousands, and they each want a good user experience. And this is the biggest leverage thing we can do right now, is to make sure their experience is smooth, and then our customer as an agency, they look good, they look professional, and they look like, oh, these guys have spent so much money on the client portal, whereas actually it's $99.
Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting how the branding comes into it because I was talking to a lead last week and they were asking about the branding and if they can add their own branding and about our powered by link back. And I was like, yeah, it's getting, you can remove it on Plus. And he was like, oh, that's fine. I don't really care about it. So it's always very surprising. It's both extremes. Either they don't care or they care very much. So, and then they're like, why can I
Yeah.
not remove it on any other plan than Plus? And I was like, because everyone loves it, obviously. Like everyone wants to remove it. And the referral traffic we get from it is pretty good because it makes sense, right? You see someone use this specific portal, they're successful, you want to use it yourself, right? So any lead you get is already convinced, like they're basically super warm, mostly hot, and they only need a little push based on their requirements. Maybe they just want to see the portal, ask a few questions, and they're convinced. So it makes sense for us to look it up behind the highest plan.
They've already seen the portal as a user. Like I've talked to so many people where they're like, I tell them, oh, I run SPP, and they're like, okay, sounds cool. And then they go on the website and they're like, oh, I know this tool. I've used this as a customer. I've bought backlinks from somebody or I don't know, some content.
Yeah, it's actually very cool. Like how many other agency owners are customers of some other agency. They buy links, they get some SEO, they get some design,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, cool, they actually use SPP. I want to use that.
Yeah, I think if you've been into like digital marketing or SEO, there's like very big chance you've used the platform as a customer at some point.
Yeah. That's also interesting because since we allow all this customization, sometimes they see a very, very custom portal and then they're like, wait, yours looks a bit different. I was like, yeah, because this is the default design. They designed something else, right? So you can also do that. You can hire a designer. You can hire someone who's familiar with Twig templating and Tailwind or whatever and do some nice custom design.
Just vibe code it. Just vibe design it. Vibe code it.
Yeah,
Vibe debug it.
I think it's
Vibe support it.
it's a fun experience and I think it's durable. Like I think doing a redesign, I mean, Claude would be able to manage it to help you. Even do some simple custom pages. Like that's an easy start, right? You just give it some
Yeah.
building blocks. Like right now, it's still Bootstrap. You can just go to the Bootstrap website, check the components, tell Claude to do some basic layout with those Bootstrap components, and you have a new custom page. You can iframe something into it, you can put some text into it, and it's basically done.
Oh, we should do a custom GPT that has some instructions like, oh, you have these variables available. This is how the template language looks like. You know, so that it's a bit easier to use to ask the AI for stuff, and it has more context for what is possible actually.
Yeah, it would be actually very interesting. I'm wondering, since I don't have you have the paid ChatGPT, I wonder if we can set it up at some point, if you can feed it all the custom variables that we have, for example. And then
Yeah, that would be
maybe it
cool.
could actually help people build like the custom pages or make customizations.
Yeah. Don't you have something similar in Claude or no?
No, they don't really have this custom GPT thing. You have like projects where you can give it custom data, and then from that project you can start chats, which will then reference the project. But they don't have these custom GPTs that you can share with people.
Nice. Cool.
They get very technical, which I guess is good.
This is the future. Everybody's gonna be vibe coding left and right.
I think so too. I think so too. It's the future, especially for marketers. So I hope people embrace it and don't diss it too much because it's not gonna help you. Like it's making your job easier. Before I had to update a blog post, I spent like an ungodly amount of time analyzing the SERPs and checking what could I improve. And now you can, I literally build a project with all the Google NLP guidelines, and now I just paste our markdown file into it, and it will show me exactly the score and what is missing, and tell you improvements
Yeah.
what actually is missing. So for example, I was checking some listicle about recurring subscription software or something like that. And I was saying that um, you don't have the EEAT fulfillment because the person, in this case, Chris, the author, doesn't have enough financial background. But it was just basing this off of your author description, basically, right? So This is actually interesting that it just reads that part because it doesn't know more about Chris, right? Like it doesn't know that he's the founder of SBP, that he knows stuff about Stripe and other integrations, right? So he actually does have the knowledge and whatever. So it's very interesting how Google just analyzes a page and takes that little author description. Like it does not have more context about Chris, which it should have. You now have your own website, so it should actually take that into account, hopefully. Is it smart enough? We
Yeah.
don't know. Apparently it's not. But knowing this, it's maybe interesting to modify the author profiles to give a more accurate description about what you actually know. Like not say I have 20 years experience building SPP. No, I can say I have experience building specific systems and payment integrations and stuff like that. And then it will reflect on the content you actually publish, that you're actually an expert.
Interesting. Damn, that's cool. That is saving like hundreds of hours for our company alone. And imagine like multiplying that by the whole economy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it makes everyone's life easier, hopefully more accurate, because before you had to do it manually, right? So it's not like AI makes mistakes, of course, but humans make more mistakes. Like imagine me always checking blog posts and even updating a link, I made mistakes myself. Like it happens, like you wrong slash or whatever, something is wrong. So you still need systems to catch the error because we have Ahrefs, it crawls the website and then bam, there's some weird crawling error and then we can fix it. So
Cool.